2 years ago, I was laid off from my job at Meta. In the past year, I completely left corporate and now I am a full-time indie game developer. Here is a recap of my first full year making indie games full-time, starting with a PowerPoint presentation. Hello, I present to you my 2024 Wrapped Game Dev Edition. This year, I started 6 game dev projects and I finished 3.5 of them. I feel like that's above average. The genres of the games I made include puzzle, platformer, horror, deck building, interactive fiction, and decoration. I experimented this year. Out of the 6 games, 2 of them were game jams, 2 of them were for videos, and 2 of them were long-term projects. Times I cried. 10. 4 times were because of the crippling self-doubt that I'll actually never make a good game and I'm just an imposter on the internet. 1 time was because I had a difficult bug. And 5 times were because I monumentally failed at something. And that made me really sad. Disciplines. For 6 of the games, I did writing. For 4 of the games, I did art. For 4 of the games, I did design. And for 1 of the games, I did coding. That was a mistake. This year has been a lot of ups and downs. I quit a project I once loved, I failed to raise funding, I made basically no money in the first half of the year, but I also discovered my love for horror games and am now working on my dream game, Lily's World XD. Let's recap every game I made this year, reflections, lessons, and what's coming in my next year of full-time game development. Watch until the end for lessons I learned from leaving a 2-year game project, marketing advice, and the truth about Stardew Valley. Starting with more casual games, I made a game in Google Sheets. Yes, I used Google Sheets as my game engine and made an ice puzzle similar to the one in Pokemon. I got my friend Dex, single by the way, to code using the Google Sheets API. I was fine trying to make a game outside of a traditional engine fun, which is why I later made a visual novel using Google Docs. You're a detective going undercover at a school full of monsters to investigate who has been stealing the food for lunch. Yes, ChatGPT came up with the plot. The first game jam I participated in this year was for the GMTK Jam, with the theme Built to Scale. Fish Are Friends is a tiny building game about keeping aquariums as you grow up, which increase in size as you get older. As someone who is typically extremely intense about the games I'm working on, this was a wonderful breather to make something cute and lighthearted. What I'm about to say about the next game is going to shock you. I left a project that was once my pride and joy, that I spent years working on, that I made with my closest friends. I've never officially addressed this, but yeah, I'm not working on Gold Lining anymore. I started making videos on social media because I wanted to promote the games I was working on. I even resented content creation at first, seeing it as a necessary evil to do what I love, which was make Gold Lining. It's a narrative platformer about a young girl who must find her way back home from a fantastical realm inspired by Chinese mythology. It tells a touching story about immigrant family and finding the gold lining. Yes, like silver lining in the worst situations. This game was my everything. I worked in it right after graduating college, where I had friends tell me they thought starting my own studio wouldn't work out. I felt this inflated need to prove myself to them, to make the game amazing, and to tell a story that was dear to my heart. I even got some early interest in the game, getting prototype funding from freaking Xbox. I was confident and I was willing to do anything. That is, until I was laid off, there were industry-wide layoffs, and a lack of money. I saw flaws in the game design, and I realized it would take a miracle for Gold Lining to get made. When you think about game developers like Concerned Ape spending 7 years of his life making Stardew Valley, you see a story about perseverance and passion. What you don't see is a story about money. The truth is, his partner financially supported him during those years. I am not a Nepo baby. Nepo girlfriend, I am a Nepo nothing. And when you want to make a game full-time with your best friends, you need money. The making of the game hinged on getting funding because we wanted to pay people for their labor. Crazy thought, I know. But to support a full-time team of 4 and some contractors, that number was massive. I got so many no's from publishers. The worst part, I agreed with them. What made Gold Lining special was the art and the story. I made several videos about Gold Lining, and some of them were very successful with over 1 million views. But that was because you were just watching the gameplay. You weren't playing it yourself. Honestly, the demo felt a bit clunky and not very fun. I am not a good level designer, and that was definitely the weakness of our team as a whole. But when platforming and good level design is supposed to make up 80% of your game, it falls really flat. Another huge lesson I learned is that marketing is way more than posting social media videos. In fact, most of the marketing for a game is done before you even announce it. You decide the trajectory of your entire game's marketing through one decision: genre. Despite standout platformers and the fact that every game dev has made a platformer, they are an oversaturated genre that Steam shoppers don't typically gravitate towards. We were making a mediocre game in a low-selling genre. This is not to discount the hard work and talent of my team. They are so good at what they do, but we made a bad decision about what the game should be. Even though many of the team members wanted to push forward, I was at my limit after being unemployed for months. I resented the game, and I lost the ability to feel joy in other parts of my life. As guilty as I felt, I left. Shortly before my departure, I started working on a different game that was meant to just be a hobby project. Yes, I'm talking about Lily's World XD. Gold Lining was beautiful, wholesome, inviting. After that, I wanted to make fucked up shit. This year, I really discovered my love for horror games with titles like Amori and Inscription. I realized horror can be this powerful medium for storytelling given the experimental nature of the genre. I've always believed that limitation breeds creativity in game development, and I loved games like Simulacra, Emily is Away, and A Normal Lost Phone. A year ago, I made a game set in a phone. So I thought to myself, what about a game set in a computer? I also loved YouTubers like Nexpo and Nick Crowley who tell dark internet stories. I thought, what if you were the subject or investigator to one of those stories? That's how the idea for Lily's World XD was born. In Lily's World XD, you investigate a young girl's computer, channel your inner 2000s teen as you read her old conversations, customize her blog, and look through her embarrassing selfies. That is, until you find messages addressed to you. Lily's World XD was the motivator for me to finally learn how to code. Yes, I have been making games for how long without programming? I always had programmer friends I collaborated with, but now that Lily's World XD was a mostly solo venture, I needed to brave the scary world of C# and Unity. God, I fucking hate programming so much. Seriously, it is the bane of my existence, and now I do it every day. Shout out to my single friend Dex for teaching me the basics of programming, and Kirk for helping me program Lily's World XD. You guys are doing God's work. I started Lily's World XD in July, and what was once a hobby project has now consumed my entire life, including weekends. As much as I complain about programming, which I will continue to do, I genuinely love this game so much and am so excited to work on it every day. After Gold Lining, I questioned if I even wanted to make games anymore. With Lily's World XD, I found that spark again. I really want players to experience certain parts of the horror and think, is that game really going there? I also wanted to take the earnestness from Gold Lining and put that into the story here. Come for the horror, stay for the feels. I have so much cool shit planned for Lily's World XD that I wish I could share, but cannot for spoiler reasons. You just gotta wishlist the game on Steam and buy it on launch. But really, your support does mean everything. With Lily's World XD, I've been featured in multiple showcases, even won $10,000 for being the top voted game in the OTK showcase, and I am now close-ish to finishing the demo. So what's next for me in 2025? I'm gonna put my everything into Lily's World XD. I am ready to grind. I am ready to make a game that you will love. Hopefully. If you want to keep up with my developer updates, you can subscribe to my free newsletter and, of course, wishlist Lily's World XD on Steam. Subscribe and follow my other socials. I'll see you in the next one.